Then for our boon, do we have just the patron? Actually goes to our Banes first. So, are we doomed, cursed? Are we destitute? Are we drunks, philanderers? Do we have an old rivalry? Reviled, rash, under scrutiny?
I can hear and say that you have a history of secrets, which means that the Alderwight Foundation has been around for a long time, and maybe there's a lot of stuff that you don't necessarily know about it. A lot of, maybe enemies that you don't know about. Maybe that could be a thing. It's up to you.
Okay.
So that no, but if you think something else jumps out better, yeah, it could be there. I'm looking at the Banes here, just having a quick look. It's definitely not destitute. They have a lot of money, just haven't. Everything they had was kind of knocked over and blown up. But banks are banks. There's old money there. You could, a lot of those things you could do with good. Just fire away with anything. Yeah.
You guys want to have an old rivalry, like maybe at one point this institute was one institute, but now it's divided, and Dr. Kilgrave took his stuff and went this way, and they're both going toward the same purpose, but at different, kind of like Professor X and Magneto.
We already had an old rivalry.
Did we?
Paradox Force had an old rivalry and under scrutiny, I think. Or did we just have under scrutiny?
We just have under scrutiny. I don't remember a rivalry.
Ooh, then let's have a rivalry. Why not?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Old rivalry.
So maybe we even inherited this rivalry, considering.
Well, we're on the team.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because as I say, the place was basically slapped down hard about 3 or 4 years ago, just before you joined, and the actual rivals that did this.
So what's the
so patron or focus?
Patron.
Anyone got strong feelings?
Yeah. No.
I'm picking patron.
All right, let's do patron.
Just because we have this guy who's like, hey, we need to fly to Lisbon.
Right. He seems
like, well,
yeah. Seems like we
all need that. And that is pretty much it. Actually,
distinctions. What's this?
That's advanced play.
Okay.
You're gonna hurt yourself. That's
I'm gonna hurt myself with that.
We're not. Yeah, I know exactly. We're not ready for that.
Okay.
Yeah. We're not.
And then the Pantheon's car pool is equal to the number of heroes plus 2, so the car pool is currently 5.
Yeah.
And then the renown and grandeur.
Yep.
Pantheon
Grandeur is
renown.
equal to fortitude plus 10. So grandeur we have 12.
Grandeur is 12. Okay. Renown is what? Does that start at 0?
Yep.
Oh, it's the average renown of the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Zilch to begin with. Okay.
Yikes.
Pantheon attendants. What's this?
Those are our divinities. That's something added later on. Basically, these are helpers. These are people who work at our institute.
Grogs and Custos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ars Magica.
These are either low level like superhumans or just, Barney the IT guy.
Right.
That
love it.
Okay. So we have 2 divinities and
okay, we'll say that at the moment they're in the process of hiring. So if there's anyone you spot that you want to bring on board, then you can, during the course of sessions or adventures, you can do that. Or if, failing that, like he'll start, Blackwood will start kind of hiring on the low level kind of minions. How does that sound?
That's a neat idea.
Yeah.
I'll just write that in as an addendum.
Huh? Okay. Yeah, because sometimes you meet a guy or a girl and you're kind of like, I really like this character. Can we bring him in more? So, you can literally do it that way. Okay. I'm just looking down here. Okay. Everything else, that is you done. Stick a fork in you and turn you over. Okay, the Alderwight Foundation. So
what's it called?
I'll put it in the chat because why not? That I think is everything correct. Tell me if I'm wrong. Ron, you're usually pretty good at.
So let me go through our agenda possibilities here. Possibility A, in no particular order, is for us to think in terms of continuity. And since the three of us, and it's the last thing we did, was work together and end up with a Dragon's Fangs agenda. So that's if we want to go with following up kind of with our how we all met and worked together saga. Then another one is to look at common agendas that we've all got, and for whatever reason pick one we like the most. And I guess it's kind of a toss-up between Sovereign and Power Elite for that purpose. And I don't know if I'm missing any of the other possibilities.
I think that's all of them. Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty. I'm ready to have some discontinuity with Paradox Force because they're great, but they're them. So they're busy with the Power Elite. They're screwing around in South America. We don't have to. So either the Dragon Fangs or the Sovereign seems good to me. Jerry, does Caliban have a Sovereign agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I'd say Sovereign would be my choice.
Okay.
Mine too. Weirdly, he's
all right.
I just like him.
In that case, Sovereign sounds good. What's the agenda? Is there like a verb in the agenda?
No, well, we just write it as how we want, to change it. So it'd be, buddy up with, Sovereign's Manifest Destiny, or,
steal his stuff, shoot him in the back of the head. And
what did he have to do with the Canadian fires again?
He had created or reawoken or something like that, an abomination, which is a Elohim Chimeran hybrid, if I'm not mistaken. Essentially a kaiju.
I remember that.
A force of utter destruction, and he had somehow managed to control it, or at least prod it in the right direction, and it was sending it all over Canada, burning things down.
Okay,
so
that's very un-Bambi. So,
yes.
And then what else? What else was Sovereign up to that we or any of you messed with?
Santorini, one of you have?
Yeah, basically in the Mediterranean, he was digging in the caldera looking for something.
Right. Okay, this fellow seems to be very much into earthly powers and forces of large, destructive lava, fire, boom, boom capacity.
Yes.
So,
He's a
so should we dedicate ourselves to saying the planet has enough problems without him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, let's. So we want to neutralize him? Is that what we're doing?
I like neutralize. It's a very generic. You're not sure if you're going to take him outside like old Yeller and take him around the back, or you're going to.
You just want him to stop, or at least I do.
He could be your friend, Guys
doing
a little hug and
well, there's always put a stop to or down with this sort of thing.
Somebody's been watching Father Ted.
I don't have to watch it anymore.
Oh, really?
No. It's all here.
It's all ingrained. Yeah. I've often been told that I have a very boring voice. So put a stop to.
Okay.
Yeah, or well, whatever you want. If you want to.
I think we should
your best
stop.
Friend and...
I just now that I think about it, stop.
Stop Sovereign's reign of
Sovereign's manifest destiny.
Yes.
Does that sound okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because there is a state of stopped and unstopped, and that's very clear to me.
It's a toggle. It's an OR gate. It's an OR gate, isn't it?
Right in Destiny, I put density.
Manifest
I will
density.
stop your density. I always like manifest density. That's a great
Yeah.
character name. That's my next
That guy's
character
way
name.
too solid.
Whoa, it's a great character name. I'm gonna take it next time. I think we're playing Arbor
Manifest
soon, so I'll be Manifest Density. I am
It's not
density
very
by
bright.
manifest.
All right.
No.
Actually, one of my champions here.
What do we do next?
Okay. So that is you ready to go, I think. I don't know. Is there any derived values that we need to worry about? Stuff like that? Sorry, I'm talking derived values. God, it sounds like I'm at work.
We've got our Pantheon's hero points. We have our own hero points. Now it's time to start the clown music.
Indeed.
Oh, speaking of which,
so
how many hero points does the Pantheon have?
5.
It has 7, didn't we say?
7?
Does it
7?
have 7?
5. Sorry,
It's
5.
5.
Our
Is
Ka
that the
pool
same
is
as the
5.
Ka
Yeah.
pool?
Yep,
It is,
that's
yeah.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
In Godsend Agenda, the Ka pool is the hero points. The
Oh,
Ka
Ka
is
pools.
the
Yeah.
is the name for hero points. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're all branded now.
I was because some guy wrote it who can't shut up about Egyptians.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Freaking Egyptians, they're all those things. Screw the Sumerians. So one of the questions is how, like you've been working with this group for about 3 years now. You've done quite a bit together. You know each other relatively well. How guarded have you been about your own histories or your back? How well do you know each other? Are you still? Is there still things that the other guys don't know about you? Is there something that you want to, just have a think about that stuff? I don't know how much of each of your characters you've read about each other, or how much you know. So that's up to you guys. How much you've kind of how comfortable you are with each other. Have you kept this as a strictly professional relationship? Has a lot of the things you've been doing? Let's just maybe say that a lot of missions you've undertaken have actually been one-on-one. So you've been sent out singly, and this is maybe the first time that you guys have actually been brought together as a group. How does that sound?
Although
you know
we
each
did
other,
work together.
you've seen each other.
We did do
you've worked together. You've worked together. Yeah. And so this is the first time really the three of you have been, for a very long time at least, the first time the three of you have been brought together in one room and told you're going to be working together. So let's get started. So it is a rather cold and damp evening in New England. You're getting used to these. There's there's a bitter wind coming off the coastline. It's about minus 20 to 25 at the moment. The wind is enough to cut you every time you go outside. Caliban has been out in his shorts, of course, but he doesn't react to this kind of temperature at all. He's totally resistant. But you can hear the wind is kind of rattling the windows of the mansion. Even though the repairs have been slowly undertaken, it's an old building, and some ancient ordinances require you to do very specialist work. And on top of that, Harold Blackwood is very exacting on what he wants done and how he likes it done. So the few builders and construction guys that you've had come in have been very specialist types, and watched over like a hawk by Blackwood. He doesn't want them moving a brick without his say so. He's the ultimate micromanager when it comes to these things. So there's a whole wing that nobody can go into because it's just structurally unsound. The village around you, in your explorations, you've seen that it was already in falling apart before the ruinous events of 3 years ago. The exact details of which you've never really been privy to, but those of you with skills in investigation and such could easily tell that this place was for all intents and purposes bombarded. It's evening time. It's maybe approaching about 6 p.m. and being winter, it's pretty damn dark outside. And you make your way through the drafty corridors of the mansion. There's still this smell of must and old books and old antiques. Nothing in here is new. There's nothing shiny. And you make your way to Harold Blackwood's study. Like the rest of the place, it's elegantly shabby, with an old kind of one of those old style rugs with an Axminster pattern across it. There's a selection of heads of various beings and things on the walls. One or two of them you don't actually recognize. what's it called, a rusted, suit of armor in one corner, kind of propping up the thing, a large globe in the other, showing continents that do not exist, or at least so everyone says they don't exist. And Blackwood is behind his large leather top table. In front of him is the customary piles of paper that you normally see, these burying notes and books and tomes, and he always seems to have this massive spread out in front of him, but you've never actually seen him look at any of these things, or kind of pick them up and kind of be working with them. He always just seems to be sitting behind them like a suit of armor almost for him. He's a very thin man, maybe only about 5'8" in height, and rail thin, looks quite frail. His head is completely bald, and he's got liver spots here and there from it. He has a rather aquiline nose, and kind of squints a little bit as he looks at you guys. His hands are clasped together as usual in this kind of just not quite steeple, but down here. And he gives you a smile which is without warmth. Take a seat, please. And you can see these 4 leather, kind of overstuffed red leather chairs arrayed in front of the desk.
Okay.
Do you sit down? Do you choose to ignore the kind of commanding tone, or?
I'm always defiant of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Always defiant. So basically, my act of rebellion is not to sit down.
Excellent. Yeah.
Because my relationship disadvantage is unwilling servant of this foundation. I'm not sure why. Me personally, Jerry doesn't know yet, but
you're here because you have to be here, right?
Right, but no, I don't want to sit down, or I probably do, but I don't.
Yeah, you want to sit down, but you did not because he said so. You're gonna stand.
I'm out of there.
Yeah,
So
the opposite of him is me. I sit down, almost bounce into the chair, clasp my hands eagerly, and just beam back with excitement.
I will sit in one of the chairs at the side, perhaps next to Schmoo, and sit neatly, efficiently, and without ceremony.
Okay. Maybe with keeping an eye carefully on both the window and the door at the same time, maybe as a conscious kind of thing of your own training. Yeah.
Jeez. Armed as I am with luck, super attribute perception, super reaction, and danger sense, I strongly suspect that I'm just got radar, metaphysics, senses, and everything. Just
absolutely
going on
absolutely.
All the time,
You're watching 2 seagulls.
Exactly.
Side out of the corner of your eyes, calculating how much could you shoot them both with 1 bullet, even from here. It's 50 yards with a pistol. That's an easy shot. So for you, Blackwood looks at each one of you. He gives a slight squint towards Caliban, kind of looks you up and down, because he actually has to physically move his head back to see the top of your head. Right. You can see immediately that these chairs are kind of quite low seated, and by sitting in them, he's placed himself, despite his size and his body, just a little bit above you, whereas Caliban now is like up here,
Old trick.
So you can see you can see he's slightly irked by the whole thing, mentally making sure that you get booked onto coach the next time you fly.
That's right.
So
no dessert for me in the commissary.
Definitely not. We'll be serving you SpaghettiOs for the rest of your life. Well, I'm sure that you are wondering why I have called you here today. I've got some very good news for you. I'm going to put you together. I'm going to work together on a little mission. Maybe you can learn from each other, he says, looking up once again at Caliban, kind of like, that you can learn a few tricks.
I'm excited.
Yeah, good. I like that enthusiasm. Just be careful it doesn't get you killed.